So I was having lunch with one of my mentors the other day, and her and I were talking about the possibility of AI taking over certain jobs, and I wanted to get her overall perspective on this. She's a tenured architect, designs massive buildings and parks for the city, and I wanted to get her perspective on what's going to come in the future with AI. She gave me a very interesting perspective that not a lot of people have shared. That's the people who already have jobs are probably safe, but the people who are looking to have jobs are not safe. A little while ago, I posted a video about how AI is more efficient at some tasks than humans, and I stand by that. What I want to do today is talk about the jobs that people are studying for right now that AI is going to take over in the near future, so you don't waste your time and money. One thing you'll probably realize is the transition into AI into these following jobs is going to make it much more efficient. They're going to be wasting a lot less time, money, resources, human labor, and it's probably going to be safer for everybody involved. So the first job that I want to talk about is the job that my mentor has, and that's an architect. So I think we all know what an architect is, somebody who's going to design a certain space. So if that's a roadway, a building, a park, whatever it is, somebody has to design certain measurements, certain materials, and certain timelines on just the overall project. Now, why is AI going to take that away from humans? Well, let's look at it like this. Let's say you're making 3D model designs or blueprints of a building. Who's going to be more efficient at that? A human who has to hand draw it either on paper or on a screen, or an AI system that can probably generate 30 different versions of a blueprint in like an hour, maybe even a minute? Who's more efficient at the end of the day? Who do you think's gonna make less mistakes? A computer or a human? Now, at the start, it might be the computer for sure, but over time, as AI gets better and AI develops, it's just gonna blow the human resource out of the water. And so we already know that computers can be more efficient at designing things, but it can also be more efficient at finding out which materials might be the best fit for that build. Maybe price analysis, maybe transport analysis, as well as you can maybe figure out the most efficient energy designs. One of the biggest issues with project management is scheduling, but if you can have somebody that can already make you the most efficient schedule and then adjust that schedule on a whim, you got a winning solution right there, and a team of 10 humans probably can't even compete with that once the technology gets good. One thing that I want to say before we go into anything further is yes, some of the technology is not here today, but with the efficiency of AI, it's probably coming in the very near future. So we're just future-proofing ourselves, because especially when technology advances as fast as AI, you have to be prepared for very quick actions. The second job that we talked about that's going to be a big issue for a lot of people, especially in America and Canada, is truck drivers. Because when we look at North America, a truck driver can only drive for a maximum of 14 hours a day, which leaves 10 hours a day that you could be driving. But if you're an AI powered transport truck, you can be driving 24/7, 365, whenever you want. On holidays, they don't get sick, they don't worry about making stops. And there's a whole bunch of positives other than the fact that people are gonna lose a lot of their jobs, which is probably the biggest concern of all of this for me, is people are really gonna have to shift industries, and they're gonna have to shift industries into positions that they might know nothing about right now. The one thing to pull out of this is the road conditions are probably going to be safer for everybody, because the AI is going to know when a tire is about to burst. The AI is going to know when the brakes are about to fail. And the AI is not going to get tired behind the wheel, possibly crashing into somebody or causing an accident. There's still going to be need for truck drivers, I think, in the cities when it's close corners and there's lots of people walking and there's lots of cars. I still think there's going to be need for that, because they're also going to maybe need to actually physically deliver the item. But if we're doing big long haul trips, coast to coast, I think those are the truck driving jobs that are going to go first. In a previous video about AI, I talk about the DALL-E program, and essentially what that is type in a bunch of keywords and an image gets spat back out. Not just one image, as many images as you possibly want. And you can make little adjustments to make it more yours and make it more unique. So if we look at graphic designers, if you can be replaced with just a few words that even I can type into a program, you're already done. So let's say you're a graphic designer. You're charging $100 for a photo. Well, if you have somebody like me who can make 100 photos in literally 5 minutes, how can you not be beat out by AI? And I'm not saying that there's no human element at all. There definitely is. There's still me involved if I'm selling a photo. But what I'm saying is the art of graphic design is most likely going to be a dying breed. And what the AI even has a potential to do is support data backed against that image. What are certain components that this image draws? A standard graphic designer is probably not going to provide that data to you, especially not in a data set that you can apply to your business. I actually have a friend who does graphic design who doesn't even do his physical work anymore. He just does everything on AI, makes little adjustments in Lightroom, little adjustments in Photoshop, but other than that, he's saving 95% of his time that he was spending on drawings already using an AI program today, not 5 years in the future, today. So I hate to say it, but if you're going to school for graphic design, you're probably going to be replaced almost immediately by AI. It also allows you to have more instant feedback. If you don't like an image, you just change a few keywords or add a few keywords in. And you don't have to worry about somebody making different revisions, it taking a week to come back to you, you making some comments, sending it back, taking it another week. I remember I was working for a company last year and we were doing an electronic Christmas card, and I was charged just to make sure it gets done. And so we were working with a graphic designer who we had already worked with previously, and it took about a month to get the final revision. And I was just sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, we could literally do this on an AI program for almost no money, and we'd have it done that day. Second last thing I want to talk to you about is software engineers. I'm sure I don't have to go into this too much, but anything to do with coding, anything to do with math, as soon as that computer learns the language and how to actually code, which is already happening, you're done. It's going to write up code almost instantly for you. I've seen people build websites just based off of the code that AI gives back to them. Just think about that. We're concerned about ChatGPT and the AI that we have today, but we should really be concerned about the AI that we're going to have next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That's what you have to be concerned about. Because if it's getting so much more advanced and so much more technical, just think about where it's going to be in 6 months. And then compound that. It's just like investing. Compound in all the improvements, and it's just going to be dramatic. If you're making code and you make a mistake, just know the computer's probably not going to do that. And let's say you're building something for a website or a marketing funnel or whatever it is, and there's a bug in the system. Well, if you have AI attached to that code, it can already fix the bug for you, and it can provide software updates as it learns, as it gets better. Like, do you know how expensive that would be for a human to do that, or a team of humans to do that? Just dramatically expensive. So if you're going to cut down the costs for a lot of these companies, they're going to take it. The last job that I think is going to be taken over is data scientists. Because if your whole job is numbers, well, trust me, you're never going to beat a computer at that. If you're trying to figure out, okay, which segment of the population can I market to most efficiently? Trust me, a computer is going to beat out a human on that one. Let's say you do medical research and your whole thing is to input data, figure out which solutions might be best in the near future. Maybe you're trying to figure out some new medicines. Well, hate to say it, computer's going to do a better job than you at it. Essentially, anything that involves sorting and analyzing data, a computer is going to do a better job at it. A human's just not going to beat a computer. Maybe a computer from the 90s, but no computer today, especially artificial intelligence. AI is going to be able to build as many models as you want to show as many different things as you want, and can do it probably almost instantly. Well, you're probably going to take about an hour to make each model. If you're making 30 models, that's a whole week's worth of work pretty much. And yeah, computers beat you. And the coolest thing that I think it has the potential to do is be predictive. I mean, we're already at a stage where people are predicting what's going to happen in elections on TV. Imagine if an AI gets behind that as well. Like if we look at certain trends, it's going to be able to predict how many people are going to die in a certain year, how many people are going to be obese in a certain year, how many people are going to have depression, how many people are going to be on medications. It's going to be able to predict these certain things just based off of large data sets. Although I think it's a little scary, I think it's important to know that we can look to the future to be preventative, to not make the mistakes that we're already set off to make. And if we're set to make a mistake, I'd rather know about it so we can change course than just collide. I could also probably sit here for another day and go over about 100 different jobs that AI is going to take over, but I just wanted to give you my top 5. I just think it's important to know that some of these super popular jobs, like being a software developer, a truck driver, or even an architect, are probably going to be taken over in the near future. That if you're in school for them right now, you're probably going to be obsolete very quickly, and that maybe you should put your time and your resources in another direction. So I just finished the edit for this video, and I thought it was important to touch on one thing, and that is I never actually gave my own personal thoughts on AI in this video, and I didn't intend to. How I actually feel it's going to affect humanity, I'll do that in a separate video, but yet again, this is just my objective perspective on what AI is going to be doing in the future, and I could be completely wrong, and you could be completely right. You could have a completely different opinion on it than me, and I'd love to hear it. Also, I'm going away for a few weeks, so the next couple of videos are going to be more travel related. I'm still obviously going to mix in some business stuff with it, and I want to do something a little bit unique, so it's just not some average travel blog. Everybody have a great rest of the day, and next time you see me, I'll probably be in a different country. Cheers.